What's up, guys? Brain Prince from Bottom Feeders 2 clan. Share another match with you guys from a classic challenge against Murad from the Mega City clan. This is going up for my 4th win in this challenge. Murad's playing a Royal Giant deck with the Valk, Logs, Arrow, Inferno Tower, Mega Minion, Minions, and Spear. I'm playing a Mortar deck with a Graveyard spell along with Barb Hut, Arrows, Musketeer, Ice Golem, Mega Minion, and the Log. With him having the Valk as well as the Mega Minion, the Minions, and even the Spear Goblin, which are all good cards to counter the Graveyard spell, I was worried that I was going to be able to even get a win out of this one, even a 1-0 win. Especially the Valk. I use the Graveyard as one of my highest damage dealing cards in this deck. The idea, hopefully, is on a counter. The idea in for this deck for me is to use a Barb Hut along with a combination of any of the other cards to stop a push, counter a push, get a Mortar down, and in response get a Graveyard down. And that's what I'm going for with this deck. The Royal Giant's a pain in the ass to deal with, period. But then you throw in all of the cards that they have to counter my Graveyard spell. I was a little concerned about this up until later in the match. So starts off, Murad will play a Royal Giant all the way in the back on the left-hand side behind his tower. Right after we both allow our elixirs to get up to full capacity. And in response, I play a Barb Hut in the worst possible position. You can play a spawn unit or defensive card against a Royal Giant. The reason that is, with the Royal Giant's radius of attack so far, is that he can lock onto a unit from his side of the river before coming across the river without giving my towers an opportunity to shoot at the Royal Giant. So the Royal Giant's able to lock on your buildings and do as much damage as he can before coming across the river. The only reason that didn't turn out so badly in this at the beginning of the match here is because I had units at the Royal Giant before he got to that point. So even though he does lock onto the Barb Hut from his side of the river, I've already got units over there attacking him. So this is my saving grace for that mistakenly dropped Barb Hut. So there, it's not a normal spot to see a Mortar placed, but I've been using it there on defense occasionally, and it hasn't come back to bite me in the ass yet. If it does, I'll let you know that it did, but for the time being, it does help to add a couple hundred extra hit points of damage. Now, if I was to put that Mortar up at the river, the Royal Giant was already locked on to my Barb Hut. So if I was to put the Mortar up there at the river, I don't think the Mortar would have survived the Mega Minion he had down and the Spear Goblins he had down. So by the time the Royal Giant, if he would have taken that Barb Hut down, he wouldn't have had a Mortar to lock onto. He would have been coming straight for my tower. So I think in this play, I think it's actually the best play for the Mortar there. Because the Mortar is able to lob its shells up across the river, doing a little bit of damage on the Royal Giant, but it also does some more giant on the next group that he sends down. So in that particular exchange, I think that's the right play for me. So I used the Log there. That was probably also a waste of 2 elixir. It did do a little bit of damage and push him across the river. But I already had Barbs there. I already had the Mortar down. I already had the Musketeer down. I probably could have went without playing that Log there. I'm pretty sure that was just 2 elixir wasted. But he comes right back after this exchange. He takes down the Barbs. He drops a Valk right on top of my Musketeer there. And there, that mortar again doing a couple hundred hit points of damage to that musketeer. I mean, to that valkyrie. It turns out to be not a bad spot to play it. And here I've got the mortar down in a good spot, so the Royal Giant's going to have to come across the river. And I'm able to take his Royal Giant down as he crosses the river. Now you see the Ice Golem. What a great card. I mean, he's not going to do any damage there. He does nothing except go for the closest building and start headbutting it. But I didn't have the elixir to do anything else there. You had the spear goblins and the minions coming up strong. By dropping that Ice Golem there, he's got over 600 hit points in damage. He's got over 600 hit points. It's going to take those minions and spear goblins a little bit to take down that Ice Golem. And then when he does die, he's going to deal that death damage, and he's also going to stun the units in the area. Gives me an opportunity to get that Ice Golem down quick, and to get another Barb Hut down quick. And you notice I placed the Barb Hut closer to the left-hand tower than in the center down bottom. The reason I did that was because he's already across the river. He's already coming on hard. I'm already defending. I think that the best place for me to put that Barb Hut in this particular instance was right where it was. He hasn't come down the right. I don't see anything coming down the right, so I think this is the best play for me. This gives my barbs this time to spawn, get up to that Royal Giant, and the units that are already up there are locked onto that Ice Golem. So all defense here. And the Royal Giant does get a little bit of damage off from my tower, but notice here these arrows. I'm not sure why that was. The arrows forced that Royal Giant to retarget. I didn't know that they did that. I didn't even have any knowledge on why my Royal Giant decided to retarget there for no reason other than the arrows. Maybe the arrows do force the Royal Giant to retarget. I'll have to figure that out. But the Royal Giant went off my tower and retargeted onto that Barb Hut there, which, I mean, I'll take. He had 2 or 3 more shots in. That would have been another close to 300 damage on my tower that I would gladly have my Barb Hut take there. So I get a mortar down. He's got a mega minion right there on my mortar. I got a musketeer down to take that mega minion out. That inferno tower immediately locks onto my musketeer and takes it out. But not before my mortar gets to fire off 2 shells at his tower. And here, the Ice Golem dies, but boom, as the Ice Golem dies, it deals enough death damage and stun damage to that Inferno Tower that it takes it out. Now, at this point in the game, we're pretty even. He's got a slight lead on damage to our towers. We're coming down into the final minute of the match. We're about to go into double elixir. I've got enough elixir to put down a Barb Hut in the wrong spot again. But I will tell you this: the reason that I put it where I put it is because he was already coming across the river. So I put that Barb Hut down and I threw the log to push him back across the river. That gave my Barb Hut time to get set. It pushed the log pushed the Royal Giant back across the river, and it forced that giant to lock on to my Barb Hut that's in the wrong spot in the middle of the map. So he's got a Mega Minion he puts down to take out my Mega Minion that's locked on to the Royal Giant here. A log pushes my Musketeer back, and he gets a few more hits off on my tower. One Inferno Tower down there. Minions across, Spear Goblins across. As this one Inferno Tower is about to go down, he puts another Royal Giant down. That's the right spot you're supposed to put your Barb Hut when you're playing against a Royal Giant. Right around there. In the middle. 5 tiles down. The Royal Giant comes across the river. Immediately locks onto the Barb Hut. Full health Mega Minion. Full health Barb Hut. Takes down that Royal Giant. He doesn't waste any time. He puts another Inferno Tower down, knowing that that one Inferno Tower is about to die. The log takes care of the one Inferno Tower. The other inferno tower locks onto my musketeers. Minions take out my little spawn barbs, and I've got a mortar down. Gets off 1 or 2 shells in the tower before those spear goblins, and the Valk takes it out. Now that's that same barb hut that I played the last Royal Giant. It's still there, doing its deed against the second Royal Giant. The barb hut is such a good card. It's amazing how the cards work in cycles. Everyone got sick of playing the Royal Giant. Someone somewhere decided that he's going to try a barb hut for 7 elixir, and it's working out really good. Whoever just made that decision, I'm glad that they shared it on YouTube, because it eventually got to me. So here we are again. There's a log to push the Royal Giant back. I've got my musketeer and mega minion down, takes him out. He's got a 500 hit point lead to damage on the towers. We're real close on elixir. We're going into overtime. I got my mortar down. Takes out those spear golems. It takes out that Valk with the mega minion. And the Valk take that mortar out. It got 1 hit off on the inferno tower. The Royal Giant comes across the river. Again, the barb hut in a good spot. It's locked on that hut. My tower is doing damage to the Royal Giant. I got a mega minion going to work on the Royal Giant. We exchange logs. He's still got a pretty decent lead in damage, though. My mortar locks onto the spear goblins, unfortunately, there, as I played my graveyard, which ended up being not such the greatest play anyway, since the Murad put a Valk down in perfect timing. My mortar did get 1 shot off on the tower there, so we're getting close on, matched up on damage on our towers here, and this is when he switches lanes, which I think is just not the right time. It's too late in the game with too much damage done off of both of our towers. Especially when I have a mortar down. He just saw the graveyard deck. So I put a musketeer down on the right to work against that Royal Giant while my mortar shoots at the tower. Another mortar on the right hand side along with my musketeer was able to take down that Royal Giant, and I've got plenty of damage. I could take 2,500 hit points over there before I even had to worry about anything. I only got 300 hit points left to take out on the left-hand tower. I know he's got another Valk coming up here soon, so before I play my graveyard, I wait to see that next Valk come down. After he plays this next Valk, I wait for that Valk to lock onto those barbs, and as soon as that Valk locks onto those barbs, I put down my last graveyard spell, and it was just enough time to give the skeletons the spawn to take down that left-hand tower in overtime for a 1-0 victory and my 4th win in this classic challenge. Hope that worked out good for you guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Keep coming back for new videos to come.